second question, which I hear so very often from people, is this one. When does this process not work? It's kind of an interesting question, because when you think about it, a person asking that question is probably thinking in the negative right now. They're thinking, well, tell me how this is not going to work, or how often it doesn't work. So what I can do is I can tell you about the times that I've seen people take the process and not get where they want to go. And in every one of those situations, what I've discovered is that something or someone, usually themselves, became such a challenge or such a difficulty that they simply gave up. They just didn't continue the process. So in order to get from here or there, to get through any type of a change, to get through any type of a transition, it's important to understand that being consistent, being persistent, being bold and courageous are necessary elements of getting through the change and getting where you want to be. Having a positive outlook on this transformation or this journey that you're going through is enormously empowering. A person with a positive attitude is exponentially more likely to achieve a positive result than a person who goes in with a negative attitude. Imagine, if you will, that you had a tennis match that you were going to play in this afternoon. I think you would agree that if you went out to your car to drive to the match, and the whole time you were driving you were thinking, I'm going to lose, this person is much better than me. If that was the thought that you had, the probability of losing is almost certain. Whereas if you go into the process thinking, I am a great tennis player, I'm going to play my very best, I'm going to play the ball, I'm going to concentrate on doing what I know how to do, and I'm going to be victorious. If you had that kind of an attitude, your probability for success is substantially greater than the person with a negative or losing attitude. And so it is true with any human endeavor. Those people who are able to look at the journey, look at the process, look at the match or the challenge or the game as an adventure and as an opportunity, understanding there will be an ebb and flow of circumstances. Sometimes the adversity will be greater than others. If we approach it in this fashion, that it is an adventure, and that a positive attitude along with a very solid process and the discipline to remain focused during the process, if we do those things, our probability for success is substantially greater. So to answer the question, it doesn't work when people choose to deviate from the recipe or to simply give up along the way. One of the things that I've noticed when people are struggling or failing and they're not getting from where they are to where they want to be, it seems to be an almost universal human tendency everywhere around the world to look for somebody to blame. It's pretty easy and convenient to blame our parents, especially if they're not with us anymore. It's simple to blame your race or your religion or your circumstances. It's very tempting to do this, and in fact, the world is full of people who exploit this human tendency, and they actually teach us and tell us that we're victims, that we can't succeed. And they build entire careers around that platform of preaching victimhood and failure or the blame of other people. But I submit to you that the predominant reason why people are not moving forward and getting where they want to go is because of the thoughts, the beliefs, and the actions which they themselves take. There's a whole series of self-defeating beliefs and self-defeating actions. I think we would all agree that becoming a heroin addict is probably a self-defeating series of choices and behaviors. And that somebody who becomes a heroin addict can certainly blame anybody and everyone, but the simple fact is, until they cease being addicted to heroin, it's very unlikely that they're going to move forward in their life and become effective and successful. So it's very tempting to look outside of ourselves for people to blame. But I believe the people who become not only successful in a worldly sense or in a financial sense, but also in a spiritual sense, where they become fulfilled and they feel as though their life has meaning and significance and that they're living in a state of joy or even bliss. These are people who look within themselves to find happiness. These are people who do not look externally for roadblocks, challenges, and problems, but instead they look inside of themselves. And then they ask this question, what must I do or what must I become in order to get from where I am to where I want to be?